Welcome to Woodlands North. Beautiful spring day today out at the hunt camp, just clearing a few trees that have died over the winter, and I brought along with me my Silky zubat. This is pretty new to me, don't know a whole lot about it just yet, but we're going to get into it next, so stick around. So these are very new to me. These are the Silky saws that have come out recently, and you see here they've got a curved edge and a different type of grip. Don't have a whole lot of experience with them, but I'm told that they are excellent. If you watch my videos, you're definitely going to know that I have a lot of experience with this guy, cut a lot of wood with it. I do really like it, but I'm told that these are better. Don't know if it's true. And guys, if you don't know, I don't get paid to say yes or no. I tell you if I like it, I tell you if I don't, I tell you the way it is. So today I was going to kind of put these two head to head in a sense. They're a little bit of a different saw, different teeth, a little bit of a different length, but they're pretty close that we can at least get a general idea which one might be right for you. Okay, so you see here the Silky zubat, brand new. In fact, it still has this little plastic cover here on the teeth. And this is the Silky big boy here. You know I love this saw. Use it all the time. Cut all sorts of wood with it. Still in relatively good shape, and still quite sharp. You see there's a difference in length. Cutting length is a little bit longer on the big boy. So first of all, the grip on this one, totally different. Feels really good in your hands, and it seems to be like a more natural sawing motion, whereas this one you have to sort of arch your wrist a bit, and I can testify that when you've cut a lot of wood, wrist will definitely get sore using this one. At least for me it does, but it does do a great job and I wouldn't mock it in any way. So let's just do a couple of quick cuts with each one and just see what the difference is. We'll take each saw, take a few strokes evenly, and see how they cut. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now with the zubat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I don't know if you could see this. Hopefully the camera's showing it. The zubat definitely got further into the wood, and I kind of felt it bite a lot more. So I definitely say that it does at least cut a little bit quicker. Now I don't know if I'm not used to this. I felt it was a little bit strange cutting, and again, I'm used to this guy where you're not really putting a lot of force, you're just kind of letting the saw do the work. And this one I feel like because of the grip I can do more. So let's just try this here. One other thing I'm noticing right away, and I think that was part of my problem. See this end here? It's got a little blunted end here. When you come to the end of your stroke, it actually stops you. And that's a good thing, because what happens with these, and I can attest to it because one of my other saws broke because of it, is once you go too far and you try to go in, it binds, bends the blade, and eventually snaps at the end, which is one of the only downfalls of this saw. Let me keep cutting here. Nice easy pace, not really asserting myself too much. Again, this is hardwood here, so this is not the easiest wood to cut, and it's not, obviously this tree's just been felled. The tree's pretty much dead. I believe it's an ash tree, but it is very hard wood. When I chopped it down, I could feel each swing, and it is cut through it quite nicely. Normally, because the tree's bound up, I'd have to sort of lift it up or take some of the pressure off somehow. Normally I would just cut it from underneath. And with this saw, yeah, I guess it's okay. little bit weird cutting it this way. Try it like this. Yeah, not bad. I know a lot of people complain about these, saying that it's a little bit difficult to do sideways cut. Now this tree is really thick, and I think we're going to give it a try. Definitely a little more strain because you're kind of turning this way, but all in all, not too bad. Try the big boy. One thing I like about the big boy, I guess, is to stabilize you can use two hands. You can't really get a lot more leverage because you're not supposed to force these saws. You're just supposed to kind of let them do their thing. See, there's that bind again. Yeah, I think more than anything, the fact that you can just use both hands kind of alleviates you having to grip really tightly and makes it slightly more comfortable this way. I'm going to try this. I'm generally right-handed. I'm going to try it with my left just to see if I can do it. Seems pretty good. Very smooth cut. Again, most Silky saws are known for that. I do like how you are able to two-hand this. You could kind of do it with this one, but like it's kind of one hand over the other, so it doesn't really give you as much. Kind of just like you get an extra thumb or a little finger grab in there. Whereas this one, you can get both hands, and it's just a nice, easy, slow cut. I can talk to you while I'm working. That's the one thing I do like about this, but I do say if you're going one-handed, this position doesn't feel nearly as nice as this position. Much more natural this way, like that, as opposed to like that, where I have to kind of lift my wrist a bit to fit. One thing I also like about this, the long handle, see here, I don't need to bend as much. Standing up straight and just real easy sawing this piece of wood. Whereas with the zubat, I'm definitely gonna have to be kind of bent down and right in there. Although I do seem to get a better cut with the zubat. Alright people, just for fun I brought along my Silky Gomboy, very popular Silky saw. My first Silky saw, I've owned this for quite some time and I love it. I don't know if you could see here, the blade is a little bit bent because I bound it up a couple times and had this thing like really bent, and it actually ends up just snapping the tip off here. See, there's a little bit missing from the tip, but in general the saw works pretty good. And I know this is a really hard to cut wood, so I just want to give it a try and see sort of how it stacks up. See, there it goes binding again, see? That's the only problem I have with this one. I think what happened is now that it's bound once, it's more prone to bind a little bit, so you have to be a little bit careful with it. See, I sort of miss having the tip because I always tend to overshoot when I get a little bit tired and my concentration isn't 100%. Nice smooth cut. One advantage I never thought of for the big boy is this adjustment they have here. And I guess if you're cutting closer to the ground, if you have a down tree or something, this will lift the blade up, whereas with the zubat, you're going to have this angle always that's going to make it very difficult to cut lower hanging branches or down trees, things like that. Alright guys, before I give you my final thoughts, I did spend some time and I bucked up the rest of that tree with the zubat. I do have plenty of experience with these other Silky saws, and one thing I wanted to share with you was the sheath. So the zubat comes with the sheath because you really can't use it without, and I do like the sheath, really well made. I mean, it is plastic, but it's well made in the sense that it fits in nicely. And I don't know if you can see here, there's rollers, little plastic rollers that help your blade slide in, and then at the end you get a little click and it holds pretty well. It does have a belt loop there, and this is removable. So that's well done. The big boy does not come with the sheath. That is an extra cost, but some will argue that you don't really need it because it's sort of a self-contained unit here and the teeth aren't gonna rip up your pack or anything like that. This does make it more convenient, you know, to lash the side of a pack or something, because you do have, this also has a belt loop, but I don't have it attached, but it's the same loop actually, and you can easily lash it to the side of a pack or on your belt, whatever. One other thing that the zubat offers is, see here, you can carry this on your leg as well. You'll obviously need some kind of harness to do so, but looks like it would fit nicely and be really convenient. Just pull it when you need it and go on cutting your wood. So all in all, well done. One thing I didn't mention was the weight difference between these two, and this zubat, including the sheath, weighs about as much as the big boy without the sheath. Now the big boy has a bit of a longer blade, but the zubat does cut quite a bit quicker, so again, something for you to consider. Alright folks, so I've done my testing. I just wanted to give you some final thoughts. Before I do, I just want you guys to know I don't sell anything here. Nothing was given to me here. This is my own opinion, and really my only goal is just to show you guys what these saws are, and you can decide if or which one is the right one for you. I have no problem if you go out and buy a Baco or whatever else. Sure, they're all great. These are just the ones that I have experience with. So I'm going to talk obviously about the zubat here, and as far as getting work done, this would be the #1 saw for sure, hands down. It cuts quicker. I believe, and this is I guess going to be subjective, but I believe that this one is going to be more reliable in the long run for 2 reasons. One is the tip here. When you're sawing through wood, it does not let the whole saw through, so then it doesn't bind on the way back out, and that binding causes, you know, the blade to bend and possibly snap, which I've seen with my Silky Gomboy. You know, another thing is that it's full tang, so the blade actually goes right through the handle. The odds of this breaking are a lot less than a folding saw, and I'm not saying these are bad. I've had absolutely zero issue with these folding saws, but I think in your head, at least in my head, I notice that when I'm using this one, I have no problem really putting pressure down, and I don't know if that's why it works better, because I'm able to put more pressure. Possibly the curvature of this helps with that, but it definitely does cut quicker. I do like the sheath. It's well made and snaps in lightly. You can tell when it's locked in. It is a little bit on the noisy side, as is the Silky sheath, just so you know. I don't know if there's an actual sheath available for the Gomboy. I haven't seen one, but it's possible that there is. But this has been a great saw for me, the one I've used the most. But as you can see, I do need a replacement blade for this. And that's one con I'm going to say for all these saws, is that every time I look at a replacement blade, it's almost the cost of the entire saw. And with the zubat, it's almost understandable, because really the only thing you're saving is this handle. The handles come off, and the rest of the saw is the part that's replaced, since it's full tang. So, but with these, I'm not sure really why they're as expensive as they are, but I guess, my friends, it is what it is. So to summarize, some of the pros for this one, forgive me, I'm reading some notes here, I took them as I was going. First thing, definitely the best cutter. Second thing, I do like this hook at the end, because it gives you that mark where you know you need to start going the other way, because you're going to get that blade bound up. It's full tang. I do like that. I believe it will last longer, and from what I can see, it's just as thick as the other Silky saw, so again, I think this one will last longer. This one can be worn on the hip as well as on your waist. The other one is just on your waist, and this is actually a much lighter weight, especially taking away the sheath, than this. So each push, you're actually pushing less weight. Now this big boy is actually a little bit, the blade is actually, I don't know, a couple of inches longer maybe than the zubat, and it doesn't cut quite as well. So this is a winner in that category. The only minor con, and it's minor with this one, is your ability to pack it. It's much longer. You do need the sheath. So this may not fit in your pack or a side pouch. You may just have to lash it somewhere. And again, it's always arguable. You don't really need this. So that makes it even a little bit less bulky. But again, not very different. Now I notice a lot of the new Silky saws have a bit of a curvature, the folding saws. This is my old Gomboy here. I don't, it's a term of endearment. It's an old boy. But you see here, I don't know if you could tell, but there's a slight bit more of an angle with the Big Boy, and I think they're onto something there, because this is even slightly more comfortable than this, and I think it's to do that with the curvature, so your hand doesn't have to quite bend as much to hold on. And with this, it's a much more natural action. Now the new saws coming out, I see have, I think, even more of a curve, and I think even the blades are slightly more curved as well. And they, you know, if they can also find a way to put this little stopper in the end, perhaps they have. I'm not familiar with the newer saws, but I think the folding saw would be just about as good as this one, and you get the best of both worlds. The one thing I did like about the Big Boy, or the folding saws in general, even this Gomboy, you don't have to bend and get right into the piece of wood. You can just lay back at a more relaxed position and saw. Whereas with the, you know, the zubat, you definitely had to get a little bit closer to keep this position going. But all in all, this was the better cutter, so it's a great blade. Whatever you choose, I don't think you're going to be disappointed with any of these. Again, my goal is just to kind of show you what they're all about. Guys, really hope you enjoyed the review. Had a blast being out here today. Beautiful spring day. Get out of the office, get out of the house if you can. Enjoy this, the beautiful nature that you might have around you. And why don't you consider subscribing to my channel if you like these types of videos. I got more on the way, and I'd love to see you in the next video. Till then, take care.